Welcome to another episode of African Couch Potato, the mashup. So last week we had part one of a very enlightening conversation with Amo, no surname. Amo joins us again, or we carry on that conversation with Amo Helang.
For sure.
Right, so the last conversation, we said quite a lot of things. We went through your top 5, which was very, but it was fine. It worked. Nobody died. People are still listening. And then we also did a review of a series called Calls, which is on Apple TV.
Correct.
And what we were discussing was also where we are as a film and television industry, in the sense that your view is that we are showing too much of the negative stuff.
I wouldn't say showing too much of the negative stuff. It goes back to what you were saying about the funders. So it's like whoever's controlling what content is being put out is being very intentional about sort of positioning Africa or South Africa in a particular way. So it's not just limited to South Africa or like crime. It's like sometimes I'll just be like on Twitter or like Instagram and I'm just looking to see a happy couple. Do you know what I mean? Like, You know what I mean? Like Mjolo, #Mjolo, has just been like branded as this strenuous, confrontational, conflict.
Okay, right. So at that point, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, Amo Helang is a podcast producer. She's an all-round creative. She does VO, she's done stage, and that's why some of it comes across a lot. We're not going to be destroying your car speakers or your phone devices. And basically, we invited Amo onto the show to chat to a local South African who's into the industry at large. And that's why she gets very passionate, but we're not against that, and it's fine. What I wanted to say, you mentioned algorithm in the previous podcast.
Sure.
The word algorithm is correct because you get what you search for. You know, automatically when you say there's a lot of negativity, I was thinking, but there's How to Ruin Christmas. There's Jiver. There's one that I watched called Clever-ish. So Clever-ish is basically this guy. He loses his girlfriend to a Grootman, then he must boss up in order to get the girl back, right? There's also, for Pete's sake, there's quite a lot. And then there's The Office Invasion. Office Invasion is on Netflix. It's aliens coming to Johannesburg or somewhere in South Africa. They take over the office for whatever gains that they might have. So there's a lot of stupid content. Or when I say stupid, I mean comedic, lighthearted. There's also Tali's Wedding Diary, Tali's Baby Diary. So that's my algorithm.
Sure.
But obviously, if you're going to be watching Sarafina, Inamba, you're going to be watching Jerusalem, you're kind of prompting Netflix to give you guns.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hear you. But I think even historically, Gino, honestly speaking, like a lot of the movies that we put out wasn't that. I think the alternatives are a refreshing sort of point that we're at right now, but they're also few and far between. Do you know what I mean? So it's just something that I'm consciously searching for. Perhaps you're absolutely right about my algorithm, but I'm consciously searching for anything other than, yo, hey. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, so that's just what I mean.
It's tricky, but I hear you. It also goes back to the fact that who is funding these things, you know? For me, if I'm going to... There's going to be a lot of stereotypes in this conversation. That's what I foresee, and I apologize for that in advance. If I go to Tembisa, for example, right, and I want to have a township experience,
Yes.
I wouldn't necessarily want to eat sushi, you know what I'm saying? Because in that environment, I feel like, I want ingutiam, I want mugodu Mondays,
Right.
and that's what I was craving when I went there. Not to say I wouldn't get sushi and great seafood, but what I was craving when I looked at that place and I wanted to go spend my money on it is why I have sushi in Ferndale when I can go to Tembisa.
But is there room for Tembisa to be more?
There's definitely room for Tembisa to be more, but if you are funding something as a funder,
Okay.
you are saying, what can I extrapolate out of this situation
Okay.
so that it can benefit me? Because
hear
I
you.
have to make my money back. If I have an audience and this audience likes to see how to bake banana bread clips, right? Even if I make the best croissants, I'm not going to get those views, right? So for me to make my money back, it has to be banana bread, and that's what I'm selling. So with every film, I feel like there is a brief, and that's also where like things like your exploitation comes in, where somebody says, you're in theater, you're black,
Right.
sing me amakuku or a song from the funeral, because that's what you would be good at.
Yeah.
Not necessarily taking into consideration the fact that you might actually not vibe with that kind of music.
I hear you.
But I see, I position, I package so that I can go back, resell, and make a profit.
Right.
Is not the greater conversation asking how we can change our funding models?
Maybe.
Because there's not two, but an example of different funding models is Nollywood, right? So what happens in Nollywood is they've decided that distributors are not a thing. So I'll go film a series, Death of Beyonce Part 5, right? Then I'll go give it to the guy by the robots or the traffic lights to sell. And whatever he sells, a DVD, if it's 100 Rand, he gets 10 Rand off that.
Okay.
So now we ensure that the money is coming back to my hands as opposed to getting like a bigger brand like a Stir Kinoko, for example, to distribute your film on your behalf.
Okay.
What happens in America and why they always give us great content is because a lot of the time they use kind of like crowdfunding. You put up 1 million, I put up 1 million, producer Tate puts up 1 million, we have 3 million, we make a movie. That movie can basically be anything we want it to be because we funded it.
Okay.
And that's how the start of Insecure was. So Insecure used to be like a YouTube series.
Yeah.
It was Issa, she self-funded the whole thing. HBO took it on because it had already gained traction.
Right.
You know? People who are making stuff like, I don't want to say Avatar's too big, but She's Gotta Have It, Spike Lee. He didn't go to a studio and say, I want to show a black woman in this light.
I get that. Sorry, because you mentioned Avatar, I'd like us to circle back to why you don't like it.
I don't like blue people. I hate Smurfs as well. That's pretty much my premise for hating Avatar.
That's not that, though. That's not what the film
that's the
is.
thing with reviews, that they don't have to be that deep. Yes, there has to be a checklist. Okay, let me give you the real reason why
Please.
I hate. So James Cameron
Yes.
always makes very long stuff, right?
Love a good long form.
Yeah, but there's long form and there's like a marathon. And I feel like what he does, like if you're watching something for 2.5 hours, it is long. You're
But,
expecting a lot. Storyline as well, you have this guy, yeah?
Yes.
Military man. He goes into an area that they were supposed to invade, actually.
Yes.
And then he ends up being a part of those people. And then now it actually sounds like District 9, which was done by Neil Blomkamp. Okay, then he goes into this area. Then in this area, he basically he falls in love with the people he was supposed to colonize. Then he decides to defend those people. He could have done that in 30 minutes.
The thing is, we needed to understand the blue people. We needed to sort of get an understanding of who he was. We needed to get a sense of how, brutal that military force is. I feel like we needed that to sort of buy into the story and get the essence of humanity. That's why I love Avatar.
You see, now I've figured out your algorithm.
Tell me.
Brutality versus humanity. In the things that you love, you want to see a brutal force come overtake, and then you want to see goodness prevail.
Oh my God.
Now that we've solved your psychological problems.
Oh my God, I'm going to add that to my bio.
But
Okay.
what else do you like about Avatar?
What else?
Yeah.
I love how the blue people live. I love their connection to nature. I love that they have their own little world and it works for them. You know, it just reminds me of how grounded, sort of we can be, or away from the concrete jungle, like when we're in nature, when we're at a safari. You know what I mean? Like, it just reminds me of our essence, because there's an essence to how the blue people live. I mean, nature is alive. They step on a part of land and it comes alive. The plants open up. I love those elements. Do you know what I mean? Because it just reminds me of an essence that I often feel like is lost. So a lot of the times when I do watch a movie or a series, I will admit I am looking for a point of resonance to myself.
Yes.
And things that I find interesting, as we all do. I'm not always tapped into entertainment. Do you know what I mean? Like, sometimes entertainment is just like, stop. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's the thing about Avatar. It may not necessarily be like the brutality and whatever, but I really fell in love with those minor sort of choices that James Cameron made towards creating this world of the blue people. I think it's beautiful,
Do you not think, and this is not me doing a psychoanalysis on you.
It is you doing a
No, it's really not. I mean, like I've always maintained
Don't
this
make me
podcast.
cry. I'm
Everybody
always
has the
crying on
right
podcasts.
to give whatever opinion, and it's great. But your theater background,
Yes.
I also fumbled theater. I did like theater when I was like way younger.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I was actually supposed to be like an actor, a thespian.
Oh my God. God, I had no idea.
But I was so bad that the guy, I can't remember his name.
You were bad at theatre.
No, I wasn't bad at Andrew Buckland, right? There's this guy called Andrew Buckland.
Brilliant.
Hate him. So basically, Andrew Buckland is like a playwright, he's a writer, he's a whatever, he specializes in theatre. He also trained the likes of Sparky because we went to the same institution as Sparky. There's another one called Kayam Tembu. What he did for me changed my course forever in the sense that I never really studied drama for acting. I studied drama for writing. So I like writing, I like reflecting on things, and I like making what's in my mind tangible for people to receive. So with acting, I did a couple of roles, and then this one show called Moruntotun, right, was basically about the people and togetherness, kumbaya and all of that, and then there was some resistance that came, etc., etc., etc. There were a lot of lead and supporting roles, and he made me a drummer, right? So he said, of everybody on this stage, you're going to hold a little like djembe drum, and you're just going to play it twice throughout the entire production. And that is your lot in life. So from there, I was kind of like...
There's no such thing as a small role. They say that all the time in theatre, and you can't use that as an example as to why you can't. You can't. I'm coming for you.
I understand small roles.
Yes. You like you were probably the best drummer.
That's what he said. That's what he said. You're the best drummer I've ever seen. Nobody else can pull this off. He said my role is important. It signals the beginning and the end of something. Whenever people hear the drum, it's gonna alert them to either danger. You understand? Like he really sold me on this dream. And then I was like, if I had a girlfriend at that time and I was like, come watch me not speak in a 1.5 hour production. Guys.
I get that. But back to my psychoanalysis.
Oh yeah, back to your psychoanalysis. So that's where the depth comes in, because how you understand, sorry, I'm not trying to Dr. Phil, but how I'm interpreting it is, you have a sense of needing to connect, needing to resonate. This feels like one of those gypsy readings. Needing to connect, needing to resonate, and theatre does that. If you look at a lot of theatre productions, it's you have to project your voice. You have to take people who are on the last seat and bring them into your world. Which is why I also don't like screen actors who are from a theatrical background.
Do you feel like they overperform?
You overperform, and you don't need that. We've got lenses these days that can zoom in. So I like micro actors or people who act with micro expressions. You know, if I'm watching the likes of like your Tapelo Mkwena, there's one really great guy, Thabo Malema was my favorite South African actor. Even if you look at your Denzel Washingtons, the reaction is in the eye twitch, you know, in the quiver of the lip. If you're disgusted, let me see that you're disgusted. Don't say, I am so disgusted.
I get that.
And throw your arms around.
That.
And it goes back to what you're saying. There's no time for coaching when you're like a casting director. But I feel like you need to be aware of what environment you are in.
Okay.
And of what you're going into. And that's why with every film, with every TV production, it's kind of like, what is the context, you know? If I'm watching something like District 9, no? So District 9, just in summary, it's basically these aliens come to Joburg, they settle among the people, and then the people are like, we don't want to live with aliens. We don't know what they've come from. Some of them are sleeping with their wives. It's just all of this negativity, right? And they call the people prawns. And if you look at when the film came out, which was in 2009, following the xenophobic attacks of 2008, we literally call foreign nationals aliens, you understand? And that is like the context of the film to make you think or rethink your reality. So you're not supposed to watch it and be like, oh, come on, there weren't real aliens in Johannesburg.
You actually just reminded me of, I couldn't add it to my list because I want to watch it again, but I thought it was really good. They clone Tyrone.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, it's just like sort of, there's an underlying critical sort of thing that they're trying to get the viewers to jump into.
Okay, moving away from that, documentaries. Are you into documentaries?
I am. Please don't ask me to list any right now. It's not top of mind.
I won't. Like, I think when we started the previous podcast, I knew already in my soul of souls that we were not going to have a format. Right?
Okay.
And I'm very structured. I like to have top fives. I like to have a review. And then I like to end with your favorite movie of all time. And you've basically came and you've bulldozed all of that, which is fine. It's your right. You're in South Africa. You voted. You're old enough.
You're so spicy.
But now just to tie it or to wrap things up so that at least I'm sticking to some form of a manifesto, right?
Yes.
We know your top five. It was Waiting to Exhale.
Yes.
It was Avatar. You also had, what was the other one?
Interstellar.
Interstellar. I like Hans Zimmer on that. Then you had
She's Gotta Have It.
She's Gotta Have It, Spike Lee. Mm-hmm. And then the one I'm missing is...
So it was Avatar 1 and 2.
Ooh.
Which sort of formed... I'm done. You know what I think? No, yeah, Avatar 1 and 2.
Okay, so that made the 5.
That made the 5.
Then we reviewed Calls on Apple TV.
Yes.
Now, what is your favorite movie or series of all time? What movie would you not mind watching like 1,000 times?
My best friend, who I called before I got here, said that I was weirdly obsessed with Sex and the City. But that is not it.
Okay.
Would I watch over and over? I watched Modern Family over and over again.
Mm-hmm. Why Sex and the City?
Navigating the world as a woman. Navigating career, relationship, all of that. Do you know what I mean?
You know, it's interesting you say that because I haven't been a woman for too long. So things like Sex in the City, I find bland. You know?
Really?
Yeah, and for this kind of podcast and this kind of platform, I don't want to say I'm forced to, but I obviously take in a lot. I consume more than I would consume on my own. So I don't just go to the stuff that I like. I try to watch everything and give it a fair chance.
So stop rolling your eyes every time I talk about Avatar.
I'll close my eyes rather. So with Sex in the City, why I kind of am interested in what you find appealing about that is because I'm not sure if you've seen Survival of the Thickest.
Yes, I watched 2 episodes.
It's kind of the same concept, but it's a woman, 38, and she's trying to navigate her life, her job, sex, hookups, losing a boyfriend that cheated on her.
And building a career.
Which is everything that Sex in the City is.
True.
But much more fun.
Is it?
No?
Have you watched Sex and the City?
2 episodes.
That's... I'm sorry, you can wrap it up. I'm not going to do this with you.
No, okay, it's fine. Okay. Let me be courteous.
Please.
Explain to us in no less than 25 words why you like Sex in the City.
I was curious about what it's like to be a worldly woman navigating sex, careers in the city, being independent, etc., etc. I hope you were keeping count of how many words.
You're basically just projecting, and it's fine. Okay, so let's wrap it up. Is there anything that you could, given the power, the possibility, the influence, change about the local industry?
Can I tell you guys about this idea that I had? So I was thinking about like introducing therapy to actors only because, as you said earlier on or in the previous episode, that they go from role to role. And I feel like it's important to de-role.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So that it's important for them to then, take on each role individually or take on the role for what it is and not conflate it to anything else, including who they are as an individual. But I change so many things. I think I just make the livelihoods of actors better in terms of how they're getting paid, the regulations around the industry. Something that I forgot to mention, when I was telling you about who I am, is that I'm going into policy making, very interested in policy making, especially as it pertains to the creative and cultural industries. So yeah, that's what I'm going to pursue in my master's. Just completed my honors.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But yeah, just minor things that take into consideration that actors are people, and a lot of their work comes from their being. And as a result of that, you kind of need to make sure that their being is okay in order for them to function and give us the best of their craft. So I suppose I would do that. But I think I'd also just I'd look for more. So Reese Witherspoon, she has a production company. I think it's called Sunshine. Hello, Sunshine.
Yeah.
And the format that she uses storybooks. And I think I'm really interested in stories of heart. And I think we have a lot of those, non-story stories. It doesn't have to be like, rah, 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 rah. Sometimes it's just nice to watch a story of heart and just recognize how the little things make a difference. So those are the little things that I would change. I think more stories about our essence and just humanity.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm feeling this post-COVID, but I'm going to stop talking now.
Where can people find you on the socials?
So Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. Look out for my weekly articles on LinkedIn. Amo Amplified on Instagram. Amo Helang on Facebook. Amo Helang Rakadi Cool on Twitter. And just Amo Helang on LinkedIn. Are we still on Facebook? Guess what my Facebook name is? Amo
Helang.
Helang. So yeah.
I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been really fun. I think also for me, what it has done, it's grown me as a person in the sense that you're sometimes in a room and you're relaying your views to people who are sitting and listening to the podcast in their cars, on their phones, etc. There isn't much room for conversation about greater things. So I might touch on some things and never go too deep, or I might go too deep on technical stuff. Like I might talk about cinematography and people just really want to know what the story is about.
Right.
So what this has done is that it's kind of elevated my thinking. Don't invoice me for this. To be more holistic when it comes to reviews. So moving forward, I will be a better reviewer or a better person. And you guys can expect, as usual, new episodes every Monday of African Couch Potato, the mashup with me, Gino, and I'm going to close it right there. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.